Hello everybody and welcome. Today we're recording a tutorial for Undead versus Human. This is my first tutorial for non-human matchup. And the main motivation behind it is that I was watching my man Death Cow the other day playing some Undead, and his build order looked whack. Everything was out of sync. And then also I got a request to do a replay review from an Undead player, and I was like, you know what? You guys don't really need it, to be honest. Undead is too good against Human, but I'm still gonna help you. I'm gonna make a tutorial. And we're going to take a look at the best Undead versus Human that's happy, and one of his recent games against Blades, because he has a very specific build order that he does really well. We're going to take some notes along the way, so let's get started. So very important is to open Ziggurat into Altar. You obviously immediately start the double acolyte, so we're going to write that. We're even going to write near gold mine, or near haunted mine, plus altar. I'm not gonna write that you need to start double acolyte and that you need to send your ghoul to the wood. That's pretty obvious. So we're gonna only take the essentials in terms of the actual build order here. And I think I'm gonna try staying at 1x speed for the most part. So this might not have been long. I mean, it's a long game. I feel like from a certain point it's kind of gonna become irrelevant what happens, because it's mostly about the starting build order and just general decisions. So then as soon as you have... So the 5th acolyte come out. 5th acolyte coming out makes crypt. And now this is very important as well, is the building positioning. You know, the altar needs to be a little bit outwards, but not super far away either. Because this, your base build is very important. And ziggurats are going to be in the line over here, and crypt can be here. You always save space here for graveyard. You want the graveyard to be close to trees, so then you get extra wood coming from there. And the goal by doing this build order is that you get your Death Knight out on the map as quickly as possible, and you start applying pressure. You don't let the human creep too easily. You start a 6th acolyte. So we're gonna write that down too. 6, I already know. 6 acolytes makes shop. And the shop is kind of safe. You see, he had a safe spot. So he had a safe spot here for the shop, because if you put it at the front, it can get sniped easily. And he has a safe spot here for the graveyard. So all of these details, again, are super important. So he's going to get the shop, and then he goes scout. But he doesn't go scout the exact way that he's going to head across the map. Happy plans on creeping this here, which is also one of the standards on this map. So what is he going to do here? This acolyte is going to search for corpses. So go find corpses near camp. You want to creep. Then go scouts. It's going to be our note for this. Again, I strongly encourage you guys to take your own notes. Obviously, you start Death Knight as soon as the altar finishes. I'm not going to write that on the notes. It's fairly obvious. You guys can write it if you want, but I think heading into this, we all knew that it was going to be a Death Knight into Fiend's build. Back to WarCraft with the host. Thank you very much, Neo. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. I'm currently recording a tutorial of Undead against Human. So, welcome to enjoy that if you guys want. And then, so, okay, so 13 out of 20 make graveyards. So I think he found a corpse here. I kind of missed it, but he found a corpse that he killed. Or like, sorry, not a corpse. He found a critter that he killed. And then he's sending the acolyte across the map. So as soon as the Death Knight comes out, again, I'm not going to write that because it's fairly obvious. You guys should already know. He's going to buy the rod, head there, make a skeletons, and then go for the creep. You're only going to get 3 ghouls with this as well. Go up to 3 ghouls on woods. Well, I guess we're going to write that, because I feel like sometimes it could be 4, sometimes it could be 2. I mean, 2 would be low, 4 would be too high, 3 is the perfect sweet spot. And on maps with a big camp or a mercenary camp, like sometimes a lab, you want to be careful that you see the Archmage headed there if he does that first. This might affect the decision of Happy and how quickly he's going to harass. You know, maybe if he sees the human headed there, he might head there. We can have a look, actually. He's going to buy the rod. You see, he didn't even click his Death Knight here. This is also important. He clicked it here because he knows he can buy it from here. So now as soon as it comes out, He's already selecting this, buying the rods. And he's paying attention to where the human's headed. See, he would block him if a human was headed there. And then he sees that human starts this, so now he's just gonna creep the camp. Finds the corpse that he created earlier. And he's actually gonna creep this one first. So no note needed. He's up to 3 goals now and he's on 17 out of 20. You don't start a second ziggurat. This is important. Where's the sound gone? How did that happen? Alright, that's better. In the meantime, the acolyte is just trying to scout exactly what's happening. You can be annoying like this, but try not to lose it. If your acolyte's about to die, the best thing you can do is suicide it. And then now he leaves the skeletons. So before you're done with the whole camp, you head across the map, and now he's already gonna start coiling everything. He started tech before he started the fiend. So 17 out of 20 start tech, or start tier 2, I guess we can write. Then make a fiend, which obviously you will rally on top of your Death Knight. I think getting an Arabian Tower here is fine too, especially if there is a footman like this and you want to be safe. And this is of course the part where you expect human to go for the creep on the expo, and if that was the case, you might end up playing quite a bit differently. So I plan on making another tutorial in the future, but against an expansion play. But just not this game, because obviously there is no expansion play here. It's going to be one base. And then start the ziggurats. Then ziggurats. Then second zig, I guess we can write.
Upgrade complete.
And like you guys are going to see, everything lines up perfectly for him to be on the exact right supply count to start everything. His lich, additional fiends, statues.
Our forces are under attack.
And the goal of this strategy is to just have a solid strategy overall, but basically reach lich with orb as quickly as possible and go for that tier 3 with very few fiends. And then you have a lot of potential to either push or either creep. There's a nice little deny here. So he's kind of staying on the human here. And I think that this is the right way to play early on, but you also need to mix in some creeping of your own. Some great guessing, by the way, where the human was here. He was kind of staying on his trail. He had the acolyte. And he suicided the acolyte just now. And that's because he's getting close to getting tier 2 finished. And you see right now, he's on 22 out of 30 supply. After he makes one more fiend, he's going to be on 25 out of 30. And then 25 out of 30, that's 5 more with the lich. And he's going to want to take very quickly as well. So this acolyte, you don't need him anymore. You know that there is no more expo, so you just suicide it at this point. If, let's say, Happy makes the one more fiend after this, and he will. And then he's on 26 out of 30 and he can start lich. That would be a disaster. He gets the fiend surrounded here, so you see, like, it's not even going that great. Like, he did do pretty well up to this point, but now losing a fiend is definitely a big deal. That was like literally his only fighting unit for all this time. So I'm not even gonna write like the supply according to like the fact that he lost the fiend. I'm just gonna adapt and assume like you would not have lost a unit by then. So as soon as tier 2 finishes, make lich. And then tech is gonna start immediately after, basically.
The sleeper awakes.
He might get a rod first. He gets a rod. And buy new rods. That's just assuming that you're near your base. You know, he's adapting to everything that's happening in the game. If he had been across the map now, he wouldn't have bought rods. He would have started tier 3 quicker. So that's slightly gonna delay his tier 3 to actually buy that. I like that he gets sacrificial skull. Let's assume that you're playing against a one base opponent. Let's say go creeping for a while and rely on skeletons for scouting Hugh Expo. And again, like that's because the human started the game on one base here for a very long time. He was only on one base. So you're gonna be scouting a bunch with skeletons, but you go into creeping mode, and that's why I kind of like that he brought Sacrificial Skull, because that's going to help the regeneration, especially on the Death Knight. To kind of have that. He's obviously counting on getting aura very soon. Start tier 3 as soon as you can, either on 27 out of 30 or 30 out of 30. We're just gonna put it that way, just in case you haven't lost a fiend. You did better than happy somehow. I mean, not everybody can do that well against blades. Then make slaughterhouse.
Our forces are under attack.
Actually, wait. Let's just do this. Plus slaughterhouse. I think it's clear enough. Everybody will understand what it means. So now Archmage gets a little bit overeager. He's gonna punish him and send him away. 5 hit points. And now he finally gets aura. The building positioning also important. I think slaughterhouse is like a pretty tanky building. You see 1200 hit points, 1300 on this, 900 on this. So you can kind of put it at the front like this. And then third zig. So you see he really delayed the additional fiend. He's literally, right now he's on 2 fiends. And he's just gonna rely on rods to creep with for the time being. And also item management, a lot can be learned. Like all of these kind of items here, damage, glove of haste, everything, you put on the lich every time. I think he can buy actually another rod very soon here, especially because he's completely run out of this one. So yeah, I wouldn't advise, like don't forget about reloading on some of these Rod of Necromancy. Always get new ones. He did make the extra fiend and he's gonna wait for the Zig to finish to get the first statue. So yeah, he gets another rod. And again, you saw like he scouted here with skeletons, saw there was, or he's gonna see that there is no expo. And against the one base human, you can just kind of creep. You don't need to go out there and fight him. He's on one base, he's gonna have a lot of units to fight you. He's gonna probably creep close to his base and have militia to counter you with. So you can just creep a bunch. This is a very important part of creeping as well. Like right now it's kind of easy because the skeletons are tanking everything. But let's say one of your units is starting to take a lot of damage and is being targeted by creeps. You're going to pull it back. You want the damage to be spread out evenly between your units. So that Unholy Aura helps with the replenishment of hit points and the statue that you're going to make later on. So I'm going to write that as well. When third Zig finishes, make statue. And right now he's going to be on 36 out of 40 and he's going to want to make the extra Zig, I guess, pretty soon. And one more fiend, I guess. But you see, he couldn't stay on this supply. Like now he only has 4 supply available. So if he wants to grab third hero, he couldn't. So that's why he's going to have to make the extra Ziggurat in a bit. And I think that against 2 base, because you play more aggressive, the timings are different. So again, this is very... You need to remember that this is a build that's designed to play against the 1 base right now.
Upgrade complete.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's going to sell the Vampiric. It doesn't really do much. When tier 3 finishes, try to have DK by orb immediately. And then if you get something like a Vampiric Aura, the entire army that you're going for is mostly range and you're not going to be going for Ghoul Frenzy. Not everybody's Mad Frog. So just sell stuff like Vampiric. I think this you can keep, the Mana Stealing. But Vampiric you need to sell for sure. And then now, this is going to be a giant power spike of Undead. Because even though the Mount King is already level 3 and it's kind of scary, like you don't want to fight this guy, he's going to have an orb to work with. And keep in mind, he doesn't even have Death Knight level 3 right now. So he's out-leveled. And I'm guessing, yeah, so he gets second statue. Gets second statue and fourth Zig. Yeah, it's kind of the order. Seems to be getting it in. And then, and start +1. I think he just adapts a lot, by the way. Like, this is not super clear cut. Like, he wants to get everything in this exact order. It's more like, he's probably asking at the time, what do I need right now? Well, I need second statue because I want to replenish health points and mana at the same time. And then he starts the Ziggurat after that, because it wasn't the highest priority, but now because he's gonna have a little bit of extra gold because he can't make additional units because he started that only now, he's like, well, how can I spend that gold? Well, let's get +1. I'm gonna need some upgrades, obviously. And then a very important part of this is gonna be getting a third hero. And it seems like Happy's third hero of choice a lot of the time is darkranger. So he's already thinking about how he's gonna grab the darkranger here. Scouting a lot with skeletons, I like that a lot. Because even if you're Blade here, you're getting scouted by these skeletons. And it does feel like he was kind of zoning him out from the middle. Like Undead right now would love to be able to buy Dark Ranger already, but in reality, his Ziggurat's not finished yet. But he's gonna have to buy that soon for sure, for silence. I don't actually know what spell he went for first, and we can't really see in the replay either, sadly. He only sent one skeleton, sees that it's clear in the area. And when you have orb and you have 4 fiends like this, creeping most big camps is actually pretty easy, especially with skeletons at the front tanking. So now he's already going on to this one. Just because orb's gonna do so much here.
Summoning is complete.
So he's gonna get Dark Ranger. Get Dark Ranger plus Burrow. And Burrow's pretty important. It can save fiends. Sometimes you can burrow while a bolt is mid-air if you had a fiend running and you can tell that Undead was gonna throw a stone bolt. He's still scouted with skeleton. He sees the size of this army. He knows that there is most likely no expansion yet. This is strength and intel. Pretty good to put on lich because you get more damage, more mana, and more hit points. All of which lich is great with. And you kind of want to, like, so let's say you're in this situation. If one of your units is taking a lot of damage, don't coil it. Save mana on your Death Knight. Pull it back and then send it back in. I think knowing to pace yourself when you have double statue like this with the mana is very important. If you start a fight, you would much rather have your Death Knight already on full mana. So behind this, upgrades Destroyer form and gets Temple. So here there's multiple different choices. You could have gone for... You could have stayed on statue tech and gone for Disease Cloud and Aboms, but Happy's style is to get Destroyers and is to get Banshees with anti-magic. Because he knows that the main point of this human strategy is that you go for Tri-Hero and then you creep them ideally to get MK level 3 and Pala level 3. And that's very scary when he's gonna have this much nuke plus the orb. Right? Let's say he's targeting units, or like let's say he targets a hero and then he goes Holy Light Stormbolt. It's gonna be very hard for the Death Knight to keep everything alive, or even to keep himself alive in those fights. So Happy knowing that, he wants to go for anti-magic shell. I don't know why he's getting a Gargoyle actually, what the fuck? Maybe he was worried about some sort of Zeppelin play. Maybe he wanted to scout. Oh, he canceled, okay, that was a mistake. And then he starts +2. At around 44 out of 50. So it doesn't have to be 44 out of 50 exactly that you start +2. Sometimes it's going to be 47. So don't take these notes now literally. Or like too literally, I think.
Research.
And then now, like, always try to think about, like, you need to macro properly, obviously. Like, he's going to want to start a Banshee as soon as this is done and get research and everything. Always try to think, where is human? Like, you see the minimap, you know he's already done this, probably done this, but apparently not this time. You know that he's either here, or doing this, or doing this. You're going for tech for Banshees with anti-magic, you're getting +2. So you don't really have to go for a fight. Unless you're like supremely confident that you can do well in the fight. It's like a little bit trickier position, right? And also, I don't really know what spell he went for on the Dark Ranger. And I can't see it because W3 Booster is down with the spells for some reason. I'm gonna restart it and then see if maybe the spells can appear. I'm really curious about whether he made the... Yeah, I think he's just desynced right now with WarCraft 3. I'm really curious whether he made Dark Arrow or Silence. But it's probably Silence, I would assume. But you go for these 2 spells, basically. So right now, Happy has a choice. Does he go and creep safe, do this, and then this? Or does he go and contest at the bottom right? You kind of want to get some invuln. Usually, yeah, invuln is like the main thing because your heroes can get nuked, in particular the Death Knight. But sometimes you'll keep it on the lich because the lich also can get nuked. The Death Knight can TP, I guess, as his invuln, like if he's really in danger. Supposedly in one Stormbolt and one Holy Light, the Death Knight is not gonna melt unless he's really out of position and he's already taken some damage before. And you can see he was getting close to full mana, so he's like, well, I'll use one of the cores on the crypt to creep it quicker. So when Tier 2 finish, when the temple finish, he started training. Get banshee, adept, training. And again, every game is different, but against one base here, you still want to be creeping. And now he's finally gonna go fight. I didn't mention that, but he's actually going frost armor, by the way, so... I'm gonna write it under. Side notes. Lich goes Nova, Frost armor, Nova. Usually that's the order. And then I think on level 4, a lot of people, they take... Dark Ritual. Darkranger, Silence. Is it Black Arrow or Dark Arrow? It's Black Arrow, right? Silence, Black Arrow. Silence. I mean, it depends how the fight is going. If you're fighting now, and you're completely trashing your opponent and he has no priest left, maybe go Dark Arrow level 2.
Research complete.
But in general, I think silence would be better. If you start fighting now, morph, one destroyer. Then we're gonna pay attention to what he has his statue on. I'm gonna guess healing. So he cores a rifleman, which actually ends up doing a little bit of damage on the archmage. Don't go into fights with a specific hero units. You want to actually with a specific hero you want to nuke, but rather seek opportunities. So I think when you have this army against this army of human, ideally what you would like to be able to kill is the priests first, because if you get them out of the way, then silence is even more powerful. They're also not dispelling frost armor anymore. But it's a lot about the position. Happy came up there, and what did he see? The first unit at the front that was somewhat exposed is this rifle. So he's like, I'm gonna kill that first. Let's say the priest would have been here. He would have targeted that. So you have to be very opportunistic with what you target here. You kind of want to target what's at the front, but ideally not the Mount Tanking or the Pala, because they're like super tanky, more tanky than everything else. It's 875 hit points, 800. A rifle only has 535. Archmage only has 575. We're gonna even slow it down here. This Death Knight gets targeted a bunch, so he's gonna pull it all the way back. He has healing wards, by the way, which can help a lot. By the way, that was pretty crazy that he didn't even panic and TP here. A lot of people would have. So now he sees that the Archmage is taking quite a bit of damage, and he's like, you know what? Let me get you out of here. You look like you don't want to be here anyway. But he does have Hank. So again, you see super opportunistic. He saw that here. Sometimes you can even use burrow on time. I mean, you did get bashed here, so that's gonna die. And then again, we're back to targeting whatever's at the front. If you feel like you're not doing that great, maybe disengage. Like now the Death Knight is not doing too hot, so it's gonna kind of run away. And of course you're gonna want to replace the statue, like replace statue when morphing Destro and get some banshees. Yeah, if you can do that, that's great. It actually made Blades use the Holy Light to make sure that he could kill that. But if you're far away and you can tell a Stormbolt's gonna be thrown, use Burrow immediately. And in this case, there was even flying machines to detect. In the meantime, you see he's remaking fiends. He started +3 attack, and then he cancelled it and he made +1 armor. I think it's maybe a wood matter, where like if he was getting +3 attack, he would have used up all these woods, and he wanted to save some to like remake destroyers and keep making some of these units. Text is cut off. Yeah, I mean, we're not really gonna use the notes, I think, going forward anyway. I'll put them in the description under the video on YouTube. But it was up until now. And again, I encourage you guys to write notes in your own way. If you wanna write them in your own language, it's also obviously fine. I write notes in my own way because I write them in a way that I will understand them. But you guys don't have to write exactly what I write or like copy my notes. I really think everybody should just take their own notes with the words that they prefer, so that it's easier for them to remember the build. So this is really the only camp that was left on the map, on his side of the map. There's still this one down there. So Happy goes for it. And this is a part where I think you want to save a little bit of gold. And we're now going to write that down. It's just general thinking that you should apply in most of your games here. Especially if there is no expand. Just save a bunch of gold and then go and make a bigger army. So he sees that there is flying machines, he gets web. You know, obviously if you had seen griffins or whatever, like you would have also already made web. But then he's just gonna head home, chill for a bit, let this one banshee build up on mana. And now the question is always, when do you want to break upkeep, right? The whole map has been crept. He sees that there is an expo, so this is the thing. Now you need to decide how you're gonna play against this. Do you get your own expand and camp? Or do you attack the expand? And Happy is gonna decide to actually attack. So the first thing he does is sell his altar. He wants maximum gold here before he's gonna break upkeep. He sells his altar. Oh, this is actually... that was bad by Blade. He sells his altar, he gets the extra ziggurats. Remember what I explained in the past a couple times is that when somebody expands, the perfect time to attack is not when the expand is only starting. I mean, ideally, if you can go there, kill the peasants, and then get out is great, but it's shortly after the expand has gone up. So a human expand goes up pretty quickly because they can force them with 5 peasants. You don't want this expand to run for like 10 minutes and then attack, because humans just gonna have too much then. So what he's gonna do is, he didn't even wait. Like, he unsummoned his altar, he broke upkeep immediately, he made fiend, banshee, and statue, and he said, you know what, I'm gonna attack you as soon as I've spent all of this gold and I have a big army. He didn't even have to use the invuln, by the way, in the previous fight, which is nice, because now he still has that. It feels like he does have quite a bit of gold, actually. This extra ziggurat is really nice. I guess the goal is to just get 70 supply and then attack, and then you can expect the opponent will have somewhat equal supply. And the extra statue is obviously to make a destroyer. He did lose the previous destroyer that he made. And now it's about getting the perfect composition. I think 3 to 4 banshees is enough. And also, if you can have 4 statues, it means you're gonna have 2 destroyers and 2 statues on the ground healing everything, or maybe 1, which is good enough as well. You want to start the fight with everything on full mana. And you see, because there is priests, I don't know actually if he gets a rod. He gets a scroll. Because he has a big army, he can pull back the units that are getting a little bit of damage. He can card whatever is taking a lot of damage. So now instead of letting his banshees go to like super high in mana, and by the way, you don't need to get master with this. You see, he went up to 3 banshees. He's gonna use anti-magic on everything. He's got 2-1 upgrades, 65 supply. And he's gonna go for it now. We're really gonna observe how he takes the fight and everything. Goes up there, sees that there is nothing. He knows that the army is probably already set down there. And this is basically the big fight that's usually gonna decide the game. And he left himself space, by the way, to morph destroyers. Which is like... well, actually, wait, did he morph just... oh, there's 2, yeah. It's actually kind of hard to see when you're paused. But you see, he left himself room, supply-wise, to morph 2 destroyers. And he pulled 2 of the ghouls. 2 out of his 3 ghouls. Does he need wood behind this? Not much. I think 1 ghoul is enough to have as a backup plan, so that you don't go to 0 wood and then you're screwed. So I kind of like pulling the ghouls, because they're going to tank some of the extra shots as well. Remember, anti-magic is not dispellable anyway, so it's going to be great for him. He can't really get Storm Bolted, Holy Lighted too easily. Blade is on 67 supply with rifles 2-0. It's got inner fire. So it's very important. Those 2 destroyers, they're going to work over time here. They're going to use dispel, then pull back. And again, what do you want to target? It's kind of tricky. Make sure you always come in from a good angle. Don't just be there and then do attack move and then your Death Knight is like going in head first and getting nuked into oblivion. You just kind of want to set up a pre-concave like this and then you start targeting units properly. Like positioning and setting up armies before the fight even starts is very important. He lands a silence on everything. We're going to slow it down even. And then now Flame Machine are going to come, but it's only so few of them and there is like 2 destroyers already. And make sure your destroyers are not at the front just dying instantly and like getting wrecked. Uses the healing words really, really well. You see, like, he never wasted a healing word or used them too early. He puts the destroyers on the flying machine because he knows if he gets them out of the way. Like, the destroyers are kind of important. You want to keep them alive here to really keep removing all the inner fire and the water elementals as well. Whatever gets targeted, he can pull back. Like, Blade goes for the fiend that's not got anti-magic. The coil is actually going to miss. And now the priest, that's where they kind of start derping. You know, he send them a little bit forward to maybe try and dispel silence. Maybe now would be a good time to target them. But I think he's just focused on babysitting the 1 destroyer that he's got left here. And he's just kind of pulling back everything that he can. You see Death Knight is not even at the front attacking. He literally tucked the Death Knight away here. So that he can just stay alive and coil everything that needs to be coiled. Now finally he goes for the priests. Look how fast they die from orb plus fiends. And again, once you get all of those priests out of there, that's when the skeletons and the silence is really gonna shine. Like, he's not even wasting time targeting heroes here. I mean, there's obviously Invuln, there's Rune Bracer, there's a staff, there's Paladin ready to heal. So you don't want to beat your opponent's heroes here. You want to beat his army. You want to say, I got fiends, I got orb, and I got banshees. I'm gonna kill all of your rifles, and then I'm gonna be left with an army plus tri-hero against just your heroes, and then I'm gonna win from there. And guess what? He's smashing his army. So anti-magic finally runs out, but everything's already been killed here on the other side. And now that he has expansion, you can just leave skeletons there and kind of chase the army by itself. He dodged another bolt, that was sick. It's so funny too, because like, if you're a Blade, you got high level heroes, you got Divine Shield level 2, you're like, please attack my hero. But Happy's like, no, I won't. I don't need to attack your hero, I can just kill your entire army. And then all of a sudden, we have Happy on 49 supply against 39. He's gonna kill all the peasants here, he's gonna kill this expo, and with it, he's just infinitely ahead now. This is usually the time where you start getting heroes out of control as well. 4.6, 4.4, and then darkranger is 3, and as you can see, it's minions level 2. So not silence level 2 actually, which I might have written wrong on the notes. I think either is fine. But it seems, if Happy does minions level 2, I guess go minions level 2, guys. Don't listen to me, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And now he knows that he's ahead, he's still got mana to work with. Look what he's gonna do, he's still gonna save a little bit of gold before he breaks upkeep again. He's trying to see exactly what Blade has left. Blade still did rebuild a little bit, he escaped with a few of his rifles. So more anti-magic. And he's like, well, you can't nuke me, let's have some fun. Goes in, coil Nova on one of the priests. Yeah, you don't want to overextend though. Oh my god, this bash. Just gonna melt one of these. And then Happy is like, I'm out of here. He's ready to burrow if there's a bolt. See, he's selecting it in advance. Ah, actually, he didn't press it. Yeah, the orb was active. So actually this wasn't even worth it, I guess. He could have just pulled back. He could have just pulled back and kind of covered destroyer scouting around. Maybe sent one skeleton. Uses silence. He actually broke upkeep again now. Okay, they cancelled it, you see. You still want to save some gold. If you look here, there's 1400s. You want to get that exact 1400. I think he might have checked that and realized. Consider all your options, you know? He only has 1400 left, 1300 now, so it's not worth it to get more upgrades either, I think. Maybe if he already had 80 or like 70 and he knew he could go to 80 and get one more upgrade, maybe do that. But now it's not necessary. And by the way, I didn't mention it, but because he already sold his altar, If Happy lost a hero, I'm 100% convinced that his plan was to instant revive. Just rebuy it in the middle. Send one unit there, rebuy it, and then keep fighting. You can't afford to remake Altar and then... But obviously you have to be very careful with your heroes. The whole point of this strategy is to get anti-magic so that you can't lose your heroes, so... Yeah, he's not supposed to lose a hero, and that's why also he felt comfortable unsummoning his Altar. So he's saving gold. He's just waiting for this to mine out, then he's gonna go to as much supply as he wants. And like right now, you don't even really know if you're the Undead how much wood human has. Like, does he have enough woods to remake an expo? Like, it's hard to tell. I never really realized either that he doesn't rebuy Rods of Necromancy, because we're at the stage in the game where they don't even really matter that much. There's just too much. I mean, there's so many priests. He has 2 here, he's got a 3rd one, they got master, like they can just get skeletons out of there. So it's not the best way to spend 150 gold at this point. Instead it's like, I'm just gonna get as many units as I can. Oh my god, he queued so much. He's actually gonna go to 80, this is insane. And it seems like he doesn't mind going up to 5 banshees either. Wait, does he have 2? Okay, I thought he had 3 already. So yeah, he's queued everything inside of those buildings. He made the extra ziggurat. He even did before he mined out. I think that's maybe because he's scared that there would be an expo back on the way, or maybe he just realized he could go as close to 80 as possible already anyway. Because even though he's mining less now, he's already queued a ton of units. So he's still gonna go pretty up high in supply. And this time it's gonna be even more statues and destroyers. And because he has this many fiends, you're not that worried about flying machines anymore. You're just gonna put them down and kill them. You can even bring the acolytes, I think, to like use dark ritual on or like tank and block some of the units away. So now he already absorbs the gold mine being unsummoned, so there's still a little bit of extra gold that you're getting out of this. I kind of want to see... So usually you would group everything on 1 and then statues in 2, but now and maybe destroyers on 1 as well, but now he has banshees as well. So let's try and see exactly how he groups this. So he groups everything on 1 plus... Well, actually not the banshees. So just the fighting units and the tri-hero. Shit, I muted, my bad. Yeah, in the fights, you're mostly anyway doing attack move, and then using pressing Control 1, and then right-clicking units, and then using Coil Nova, whatever, silence. And then you press 2, and then you control the destroyers. And if one of them is being targeted, you manually select it and then pull it back. But we can try and pay extra attention in the next fight as well. So he got up to 73. I wonder if it would be worth maybe sell this thing. So he doesn't even want to expand here. He just wants to go and fight. Speed it up to the fight. So you see, even before he moves out, like, let's say he started moving out and he met the human here, it would be pretty bad. An anti-magic shell lasts a very long time. So as he's moving out of his base, he's already using all anti-magic. And he's already absorbing mana as well. He took literally all the mana from a lot of the statues. He just kept 2 of them with mana. I can't believe these groups. So he put statues, destroyers, banshees, and acolytes in 2. I think it's just a lot about having his army clumped up together and ready to fight. So he finally reaches the human base, sees that there is inner fire rifle. He's like, oh, thanks for the free mana. Absorbs a little bit. And now here's the... If the opponent has a ton of flying machine, you still need to pay attention to that. What you're going to want to do is engage, web everything, and then pull back. So that everything that's webbed maybe is not attacking. And I like that Happy is not rushing in there, because even though he absorbed mana, if he attacked through there, that could have been a bad angle for him. Militia could have come in and then it's very hard for him to micro anything back. So now he just pulled back. He's just kind of circling around him like a shark. Sharking around, if you will. He gets double healing scroll, I don't even know. He sold everything at home. This is really sick because he knows that all he has to do is win one big fight and he's won the game anyway. So what does he need a base for? He could even unsummon his main for all we care. He knows pretty much that there is no expo. I'm sure like he flew around a bunch. And he knows that Blade is broke, so it's just all about that last fight. Blade got back to 66 supply in total. Happy has 75, so he's got an advantage here. These acolytes are pretty annoying as well, like they can block a lot of stuff. But Blade bought time pretty nicely. So now finally Blade loses patience. He's like, I'm gonna fight. I got militia here that I can send in. Maybe it's gonna make a difference. He's got a shitload of flying machine. So Happy again, he's gonna attack whatever's at the front here in the first place. Flying machines come in. Nice coil save. Look what he does. He pulled back the destroyer so that all of the flying machines got webbed. And then he's manually targeting them. Why? Because he knows that if he kills all of the flying machines, those destroyers are going to help so much. They're going to keep removing water elementals. They're going to keep removing inner fire. And then he's going to do great. So the positioning that he started the fight with and the way he's dealing with this fight is really nice. Again, he pulls back the Death Knight, especially because there is no anti-magic on him right now, to make sure it's not the one thing that's at the front getting nuked and smashed. And remember, he had multiple healing scrolls to work with. He's got, I think he might have used one already, and he's got the one on the Death Knight right now, with an invuln too. Another coin misses, but you can see it doesn't even make that much difference. Manually targeted all of the flying machines. There is one left, and now one's not going to be enough against triple destroyer. And now it's like, dispel, 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 remove all the inner fire. They get extra mana from it as well. He pulls them back when they start being targeted. Now's a good time to target those priests, I think. Yeah, there it is. Get them out of there, get skeletons. And now there's no more dispels. You see, there is not only no more dispels. Actually, well, there is one priest left, but he has no dispel. So not only is he taking dispel out of the equation against skeletons, you also need dispel against silence. Silence can be very important here in those fights. Archmage kind of in the middle. It's like very tempting to go for it here. Lich uses invuln last second. Archmage in the middle. Again, opportunistic style. Whatever is in the center and targetable is what you go for here. You always want to coil your Lich. Having that extra invuln here was super key. And look, those acolytes are blocking so much stuff here. All you have to do here is escape properly as well. And I know it's Happy and it's very hard to do sometimes to escape, like with the Lich level 5 against heroes 4 and 5, but if you can do it, if you pay attention to your heroes, your army will do the rest and you will beat the other army. So again, I love the disengage here because his Death Knight was like really low. And then Happy reads the game really well. He sees this army, he sees that there is one priest, he's like, oh, you can never heal this properly. So he just gets out, kind of let the statue replenish here. This is your brilliance and this is your priest here, those statues. Sometimes you can even sell items here, like, yeah, maybe sell this and get an invuln extra, you know? One more kill for Blades. If he would have had expo, this would have been a lot scarier, but he is broke. He even used all militia to fight. You're the one. I love that, by the way. He left an acolyte back at home.
Our forces are under attack.
This is really sick. He could have actually gotten some extra gold if he sold a bunch of stuff, but you also don't want to be eliminated. But in this game, there was no tanks, so he wasn't really at risk. So you see, he let himself replenish for a little bit, let those banshees get back on the mana too, use anti-magic, and then we go again for the fight. This is a very important concept that when you're running low on mana and hit points as Undead, you just pull back and replenish, and then you go and re-engage. And Happy is like a master of that. Goes for the Coil Nova on the Archmage, and this time he gets it. And that was key here, because you know that the opponent doesn't have the gold to remake that. He could sell everything that he has as far as items, but that's gonna take a long time. So for that, Blade actually manages to get one more of the Banshees. But now Coil Nova is very strong with all these statues still. It just ends up nuking all of the units. And that's it. So obviously, you know, this looks very hard, and it is very hard to execute here if you're Happy, but I think you get the general gist of what it is you're supposed to do. And again, not everybody is Blade. Like, Blade played amazing in this game. But if you're happy, or like if you're the undead here, just learn to prioritize correctly, make a lot of the same decisions. You know, don't buy Roads of Necromancy late into the game against a ton of priests. Just get a big army, know when to break upkeep like he did, and in the fight just Coin Nova, silence, and enjoy nuking everything really, and I think you will do well. I think the Death Knight placement is also very important. So I would definitely recommend watch that VOD, rewatch it again a couple times, really take a lot of notes from what Happy is doing. Is by far the best undead versus human, and he keeps beating them, and then I think you will be able to do well. And I think the part where the early game build order is like so important, you know, being on 25 out of 30, making the lich, starting the tier 3, and then the slaughterhouse. You have to get all of those things in the correct order and as soon as possible. So focus on that a lot. And especially in this kind of game where you're creeping, it's not like you're fighting all the time with the opponent, so it's much easier to just kind of creep, look away, macro, go back to creeping and all of that. I hope this helps you. Leave me some comments and I'll do a follow-up one against fast expansion in the future. This was Undead against Human on one base. Hope you guys enjoyed and see you next time.